All right, so the main thing that you need to know for writing about literature is that you have to produce claims, much as you did for the argumentative essay. You have to produce claims for the thesis and topic sentences. A method of producing claims is the semiotic method. Semiotic, don't be scared by the fancy word. Semiotic means related to signs or signals. And it is a method for producing claims about literature. And you'll recall in the second essay, the formula that I gave you, problem, solution, so what. Some of you may have adhered to it, some of you not. But that formula was sort of based similarly on the semiotic method in that it had the same sort of layout. So the first thing in the semiotic method, you can also refer to this as the 3 S's. The first thing is the sign. So when we talk about signs, we don't mean like a stop sign. We mean like what is something that you can point to within the text from which you can derive meaning. Now, there could be lots of different signs. When we think about the lottery, one of the first signs that comes to mind is the children gathering stones at the start of the story, right? Another sign that comes to mind is the black box, which has been in the town for generations and is used to conduct the lottery. There are other various signs throughout the story, but when we look for them, we got to think about stuff that we can point to within the text and say, huh, what's going on here, right? Then we move into the significance. So once we find the thing, we ask ourselves, what is the significance of that thing? So when we think about, let's say, the black box, all right? The black box is an object that is tattered and worn and sort of steeped in all this tradition, but the origins of the traditions aren't known. So the significance is that the box represents the traditions, the outmoded traditions, and barbaric traditions of the town. Okay? It is a black box because of the somber, sort of ominous nature of that, you know, like the nighttime and stuff. And it represents this kind of tradition that's been around, that's got these barbaric origins, and it's all beat up and torn because no one remembers what it's supposed to be about. The next thing that we look at is the so what factor. And this is, why does this matter? What is the black box telling us about the world in which we live? Why should we care about this? What should we take away? And this is a little more difficult, admittedly, to get the so what factor down. But I'm just off the top of my head, a good so what is that it shows us that we as Americans are just as influenced by tradition and power as others. That's a little bit wordy, but essentially that's what we get. We have the black box. It represents this tradition. It's situated in the United States, so it's obviously a message to Americans, and it says that, hey, you are just like some of these other people in the world that are easily influenced by power structures and by traditions and by the passing down of these things. So this is kind of how you do it. When you read a text, make sure that you read it once through. Don't take any notes when you read it the first time. Just consume it. The next time that you read it, try to make annotations and look for signs. What can you point to that is a sign from which you can derive meaning? A good way to find signs is to look for, actual objects, but they don't have to be objects in the story. They can be a style of language, a method of repetition, or a pattern of some kind. It doesn't have to be something tangible. Anything that you can point to specifically, and that's the key, specifically, that you can derive meaning from within the text can be used as a sign. So if you remember this method, semiotic method, sign, significance, so what, it makes making that thesis and topic sentences that much easier. And so I will stop again there, and we'll finish up in just a second.